Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ask you to take your seats, please, and the ceremony will start here in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Just a reminder, I'll call you all to attention. The anthem in my manual looks like this. And I'll probably reset a little bit to get you a spot. And then he'll let me know when to fire off with the anthem. Okay. They should announce it. He said they were going to say, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. All right, last word. What do we got? Manhattan Beach. I don't know that one, so stinger, no stinger. Let me know. No stinger, and it's a Susan word. Okay. Yeah. Just being honest. It'll be fun. Probably not. Manhattan Beach.
So the ceremony will start in just a few minutes. If I could ask everybody to please take your seats. Thank you.
Ship, no doubt, constructed by General Dynamics NASCO. As you just heard, a hometown business that we are very proud of here in San Diego.
But the Navy is actually building a ship celebrating someone that they previously didn't celebrate. And that sends a global message. It sends a message of inclusion. It's more powerful than we simply will tolerate everyone. We celebrate everyone.
My name is Javier Huerta. I'm an area manager here in SOC 4. On a daily basis, we get to work with the trades and coordinate, all the outfitting that goes on the units. On the Harvey Milk, we really focused on continuous improvement. That we saw a lot of areas of opportunities. Basically, just recognizing issues and taking an active approach on getting them corrected. So that's something that we're always striving for, just continuous improvement. And if you see something that's wrong, we got to fix it. And just make sure that our units, our blocks, stay on schedule and make it on time to our customer.
Finding the right talent and being able to match people with jobs is very, very rewarding. For TAO, my role was to develop a sourcing strategy to attract more journeymen in targeted trades. We held 3 job fairs throughout the pandemic, offering on-site interviews, and we also reestablished COVID-impacted partnerships with 11 VOTEC schools. The team brought in 640 hires with more than 80 journeymen and placed a little over 1,000 subs for the ship.
My name is Devin Stevens. I'm a machinery tester 1. I work with topside test and trials. My role is all the winches and the unrep gear. We test the equipment to make sure that it does what it needs to do. It's fun, you get to use your brain, you think outside of the box for a lot of things. This ship's coming with a lot of upgrades compared to the last ships, and it's probably my favorite part. I love the unrep days out at sea. I want to get these ships out there to get them doing the job that they need to do. We are one team.
One NASCO.
Better every day.
Good morning once again, and welcome to San Diego and General Dynamics NASCO. We're pleased that you've joined us this morning for the christening and launch of the USNS Harvey Milk TAO 206. Somebody was here we go, all right. Need to see a lot more smiling faces here before I proceed. So it's another spectacular day here in America's finest city. I know Mayor Todd Glory is here. Thank you, Mayor. It's a great place to be on a Saturday morning. So my name is Dennis Dubard, and I'm your Master of Ceremonies for today's ceremony. So on behalf of the shipbuilders of General Dynamics NASCO, who labor in our shipyard every day, it's truly my honor to represent them this morning. So this is also like to extend a very special welcome to those who are watching the live stream via our website and YouTube. Hi, Mom. Sorry, gotta do that. So we're gonna kick off our ceremony this morning when I'd ask the guests, please rise for the presentation of colors and our national anthem. Parade the colors. national anthem. Retire the colors. Lieutenant Richard Cho, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy, will now deliver the invocation. Chaplain.
Let us pray. Almighty God, as we witness and celebrate the christening of the USNS Harvey Milk, we agree this is a great day to be alive, a great privilege to be gathered together, so we recognize, honor, and invite your strong and sustaining presence among us today. Lord, we are not here in awestruck wonder in the shadow of a state-of-the-art supercarrier, a sleek attack submarine, or even a next-generation fast frigate, but rather a brand new but unassuming fleet replenishment oiler. If it is too much to ask that we would be ennobled by this experience, may we at least be freshly reminded that true and lasting significance is not found in sensational spectacle, but in steadfast service. In an age that glorifies celebrity status and values things such as clickbait, likes, selfies, and faceless followers, the names John Lewis, Earl Warren, Robert F. Kennedy, Lucy Stone, Sojourner Truth, and Harvey Milk may never be search terms that trend online, and yet we are thankful for the legacy of their lives. For the benefit of posterity, if not the balance of eternity, may we remember that self-sacrifice in a worthwhile cause for the good of others is still the measure of true greatness. May this ship and all who build, test, and serve aboard her conspire toward this end. For what we do today, lend us the weight of your glory, a heightened sense of your calling, and the joy and satisfaction of the hope we have in you and your good purposes for our lives. For it is in your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Guests, please be seated. Thank you, Chaplain. Appreciate you being here today as well. Big round of applause for our Navy band from Navy Region Southwest. They're led this morning by Lieutenant Commander Mansfield, and I know you guys have an extremely busy schedule, for we're very appreciative and grateful that you can be with us today. Thanks again. Our color guard, led by Petty Officer First Class Knudsen from Naval Base San Diego. Thank you very much for being here. So before the start of the ceremony, our ship sponsor and our matrons of honor were presented a bouquet of flowers by our ceremonial flower girl, Ms. Avery Vaughn. She's the daughter of Duke Vaughn, manager of Ship Systems Engineering. Avery, would you please stand? I know she's around. Oh, there she is, right over there. So a little story about Avery. She was here yesterday for the ship's tour, and she got all the way up to the bridge, And like kids her age, they like to push buttons. So she found a button up on one of the consoles, and she asked if she could push that button, and she did, and she found the ship's whistle. So I think that you can say that the ship's whistle now is the first piece of gear that's been tested satisfactory. Thanks to our flower girl, Avery. Congratulations. Now I'd like to introduce the guest on the platform. To my right is our president of General Dynamics NASCA, Mr. David Carver.
Next thing up would be mechanized, followed by national emblem.
Our co-sponsor, Paul Lanieri, United States Naval Academy class of '85. Rear Admiral Michael Wetlaufer, Commander, Military Sealift Command. On my left, the Honorable Carlos del Toro, Secretary of the Navy. Our principal speaker and the co-founder of the Harvey Milk Foundation and the nephew of the ship's namesake, Mr. Stuart Milk. Vice Admiral Jeffrey Hughes, Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Warfighting Development. In the back row, Mr. Tom Rivers, Executive Director, Amphibious, Auxiliary, and Sealift Program Executive Office Ships. And the person, I always say this, but it's really true, the person who really has the best job going, that's Captain James White, who's going to command the USNS Harvey Milk. Our Chaplain, Lieutenant Christopher Cho from Chaplain Corps from Naval Base San Diego. Chaplain. Two matrons of honor. First, Miss Ann Cronenberg and Ms. Layla Ireland. So we do have a number of guests. I'd like to indulge your patience. I'd like to introduce, and we had expected to have several members of the House with us today, but they were a little bit busy yesterday. I think doing some votes late into the evening, so they're not here. However, they have one of their colleagues who spent 20 years in the House of Representatives from San Diego and represented the 53rd District here in California in San Diego, and that's Congresswoman Susan Davis. She's great to see you again, Congresswoman. She's now in retirement, but I suspect she's enjoying being here as opposed to what's going on in Washington, D.C. Great to see you again. From General Dynamics, the Executive Vice President of the Marine Group, Mr. Rob Smith. Mr. Reggie Greer is a Senior Advisor, LGBTQ Engagement, and longtime LGBTQ advocate. From the Office of Senator Dianne Feinstein, Mr. Bill Kratz. From the Office of Representative Scott Peter, Cesar Solis. From Representative Juan Vargas, Stormy Foster. From the Senate Committee on Appropriations Defense Subcommittee, Mr. John Lucio. And we're truly honored today from the City of San Diego to have our Mayor, Mayor Todd Gloria. City Council President, Dr. Jen Campbell. Council Pro Tem, Stephen Whitburn. From District 1, Council Member Joe LaCava. And from District 4, Council Member Monica Montgomery Stepp. From District 7, Council Member Rael Campillo. And from District 9, Sean Elo Rivera. So I think, Dr. Campbell, you've got a quorum here, so if you need to do any business with the City Council, feel free to do that. The Honorable Yvonne Campos, Judge, Superior Court of San Diego. Nicole Murray Ramirez, member of the San Diego Human Relations Commission. From the County of San Diego, the Chair of the Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Nathan Fletcher. And And his son Caleb is here, and this is his first ship launch. And he's been studying ship launches, so I think he's ready. Former California State Senator, California State Assemblyperson, and San Diego City Council, Christine Keough. From Miami Beach, City Commissioner, Group 6, David Richardson. And an old friend of NASCO from the United States Navy, the 75th Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mavis. Vice Admiral Roy Kitchener, Commander, Naval Surface Forces. Rear Admiral Stephen Barnett, Commander, Navy Region Southwest. So we have a city mayor, and then we also have a Navy mayor, and that's Admiral Barnett. Thank you. Great to see you again this morning. Captain Kendall Bridgewater, Commander, Military Sealift Command, Pacific. Mr. John Lighthammer, Auxiliary and Special Mission Shipbuilding Program Manager, PEO Ships. Tom, you guys got to work on your titles. A little long here. That's okay. From the Society of Ship Sponsors, Ms. Ann Zumwalt. She's a sponsor of the USS Zumwalt, DDG 1000. And representing the crew of the USNS Harvey Milk, the chief engineer is going to keep all the lights and the engines running, Steve Starr. Thank you all for being here this morning. So now to kick off our speakers, it's now my honor to introduce our President of General Dynamics NASCO, Mr. David Carver.
I don't like following Dennis. He's a natural up here. Anyhow, thank you, Dennis. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to say on this foggy San Diego day, but it's still a beautiful San Diego day. On behalf of the entire NASCO team, it's my distinct honor to welcome each of you to the christening and a launch ceremony for the future USNS Harvey Milk TAO 206. Secretary Del Toro, it's an honor having you with us this morning. Being a ship sponsor is a tremendous honor, and we are all fortunate to have two on this ship. I'd like to welcome Paula Neria. Paula is a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy, class of '85, currently serves as the clinical program director at Johns Hopkins Center for Transgender Health. Paula's last visit to the shipyard was in December of 2019. Ship looks pretty good, doesn't she? You will hear from Paula shortly. The other sponsor is Senator Feinstein, who is not able to join us this morning, but she's clearly here with us in spirit. I would like to thank Senator for her longtime support of the shipbuilders of NASCO. We have a letter from her to the ship's crew that we will read later in the ceremony. As sponsors, these ladies are considered a permanent member of the ship's crew, and their personalities will be embedded as part of the ship and its crew as the ship sails the world's waters. We all know Senator Feinstein. Well, I'd like to add that I spent some time with Paula yesterday and last night at dinner, and our adversaries are in trouble. Captain, this ship's going to do just fine. Building this ship, or any ship for that matter, is never easy. The fact that we are here today underscores the extraordinary effort the men and women of NASCO deliver every day. We are a community of highly trained and skilled individuals. From design conception to delivery, we come together each day with a common purpose to build and repair the finest ship that sail the high seas. As shipbuilders, the work we do serves a purpose greater than ourselves, and a purpose I know we all take enormous pride in. I would like to thank the NASCO team for their dedication and hard work. Without their efforts, we would not be here this morning, and this ship would not be sliding down the ways in a few minutes. We are justifiably proud of every ship we build, but this one is special because of her namesake. The future USNS Harvey Milk is the second ship in the John Lewis class of fleet oilers. The ship measures 648 feet in length. That's more than 2 football fields. Could sustain a speed of 20 knots or 23 miles per hour for more than 7,000 miles. She can carry more than 5 million gallons of liquid cargo or fuel and carry over 9,000 square feet of dry and refrigerated cargo with the capability of replenishing 3 ships at the same time. The USNS Harvey Milk is truly a technological marvel. The NASCO team is proud to build the ship with the namesake Harvey Milk. Harvey spent a good portion of his life as a champion of equality for everyone, everywhere. Harvey joined the Navy during the Korean War, serving as a diving officer on the submarine rescue ship USS Kittiwake ASR-13. He was discharged from the Navy in 1955 at the rank of lieutenant junior grade. He began his political career in 1972 when he ran for a seat on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. He lost, but did not give up. He eventually won a seat in 1977, becoming one of the first openly gay elected officials in the country. He was very popular in his district as he worked to advance policies that improved life for all in San Francisco. Although his own life was cut short at the age of 48, his vision and spirit, living on, inspiring others to join the cause of equality and opportunity for everyone. Sometimes saying thanks seems inadequate because saying thanks does not measure up to one's extraordinary commitment and sacrifice. So today, with the christening and launch of the USNS Harvey Milk, we are honoring his lifetime of selflessness, service, and his hope for equality and a world without hate. On behalf of the 3,500 employees of General Dynamics NASCO, I'm proud to present the USNS Harvey Milk for christening to our sponsor, Paula Nera.
Thanks, Dave. Our next speaker is Rear Admiral Michael Wetlaufer, Commander, Military Sealift Command. Military Sealift Command is a premier provider of ocean transportation to the Department of Defense. They operate over 125 ships around the globe on a daily basis. They support the full spectrum of military operations in contested and uncontested environments. Please welcome our old friend back again from MSC, Rear Admiral Michael Wetlaufer.
Secretary Del Toro, Stuart Milk, Paula, and Admiral Hughes. Great to spend some time with you last night. Really had an enjoyable opportunity to get to know all of you as well as the folks out in the audience. So thanks for last night. It's a remarkable day today. Distinguished visitors, welcome. This is a dolphin eye view, right? You have to be a dolphin to get this view, except here at NASCO. So if you're not taking pictures, you better, because you don't often get to see this unless you're underneath the surface of the ocean. So good morning. I am honored to represent the women and the men of Military Sealift Command as we celebrate our newest addition to the MSC fleet, United States naval ship Harvey Milk. As you know, he's a Navy veteran and a tireless advocate for equality and universal rights. And having Harvey Milk as a namesake for this ship as she adds to our nation's strategic advantage in agile logistics is absolutely awesome. With enhanced capabilities in cargo storage and delivery of fuel, Harvey Milk will support our Navy in the away game as we keep our country safe far from home and protect the sea lines of communication. Important to our economic vitality and assuring our allies and partners, this ship will help promote freedom of access to international seas and the rules-based international order that has helped keep the peace for the last 70 years. Also important today is to acknowledge the Americans who work around the globe on commercial and government vessels. American mariners, and for Harvey Milk, American civil service mariners of Military Sealift Command enable our vital strategic advantage at sea. Today, the christening captain, Jim White, the chief engineer, Steve Starr, and the crew of Harvey Milk proudly represent the almost 6,000 civil service mariners who serve across the globe's oceans 24/7, 365, and the civil service personnel who support them, our commercial partners, our operating companies, and the military personnel who make up the great team that supports them. I am certain Captain White and his crew will operate her with the same tenacity and courage displayed by Harvey Milk and be ready to meet any challenge that they may face in the days, years ahead. I want to thank our partners here at NASSCO and the dedicated men and women who designed and built this magnificent ship. And to our sponsors, Senator Feinstein and certainly Ms. Nira, please know you will remain an important part of Harvey Milk's legacy as she serves our nation. May God bless this ship and all who built her, and all those who will sail in her or receive sustenance from her, and the country that she serves. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral. Our next speaker is Vice Admiral Jeff Hughes. He's a career naval aviator, and he's currently the Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Warfighting Development, a position he assumed in January of 2021. So he's charged with advancing on me. Well, I'll tell you what, though, he's got a big smile on his face, and there's one reason why he's got a big smile on his face. He's in San Diego, and he's not on the E-ring of the Pentagon. So, Vice Admiral Jeffrey Hughes.
Couldn't resist, right?
Couldn't resist.
Thank you so much, Dennis, and it's great to be with you again after a lot of years and phenomenal work. Secretary Del Toro, Secretary Mabus, Ms. Nira, Mr. Milk, Ms. Cronenberg, Ms. Ireland, Admirals, Captain White, best job in the Navy. Distinguished guests, good morning. On behalf of our Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Mike Gilday, I am honored to be here to welcome the second ship of our new class of fleet replenishment oilers, ably and exceptionally built by the team at General Dynamics NASSCO. These vessels differ from commissioned warships in that they support, through peaceful means, the achievement of great works in support of our national interests. As a naval aviator who was deployed on aircraft carriers, amphibious assault ships, destroyers, and frigates, I certainly recognize that my aircraft, our ships, and our strike groups relied on such vessels to keep us flying and steaming, to keep us fed, and to enable us to achieve the full range of missions we conducted forward deployed in defense of our nation. Our USNS designated non-commissioned ships go into harm's way unarmed by naval standards and are crewed by courageous civilian mariners who believe in the greatness of this nation. Sailors who at great personal risk put service before self and mission before individual well-being. So I think given the mission of these vessels and the unarmed, nonviolent means of executing that mission, that it is wholly appropriate to name this new class of vessels after civil rights icons throughout our history. Men and women who fought for our collective dignity and human rights courageously and nonviolently. The USNS Harvey Milk will be the first ship named after this exceptional American who was a Navy veteran and significant civil and human rights leader, who served as the first openly gay elected official in California when he won his seat on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors in 1977. Harvey believed that government should represent individuals and ensure equality for all citizens, and he did that. Harvey served our nation as a naval officer and as elected official. While we lost him way too early, his legacy is prominent and remains a catalyst for positive change and a powerful beacon for all of us to follow. He lived his life to help others, and he certainly lived a life of meaning and purpose. I am in awe of such a lifetime, of all that he did to help make us a better nation, a more inclusive, just, more perfect union. It is a tremendous honor to take part in this ceremony. I have no doubt that the mariners who serve aboard the USNS Harvey Milk will continue to recall his brilliant and inspirational example of service, and I pray that we all do as well. Godspeed to all.
Thanks again, Admiral. The Honorable Carlos del Toro is the 78th Secretary of the Navy. He's a class of '83 at the United States Naval Academy, spent 22 years as a surface warfare officer, and he was the first commanding officer of the USS Buckley, DDG 84. He assumed his present position on August 9th of 2021, and he too has a nice smile on his face because he is in San Diego, and he is not on the E-ring of the Pentagon. So please join me in a warm San Diego welcome for the Secretary of the Navy, Carlos del Toro.
Thank you, Dennis. Thanks. How wonderful it is for me to be here today in San Diego. I had the privilege of being here with my family as an executive officer on a cruiser. And I'll tell you, in our Navy life, we moved 17 times in 23 years. And I always tell folks that the only time that my family, we had 4 children, the only time that they were physically upset with me when we moved out of San Diego. And you know, one of the great things about being Secretary of the Navy, I always used to say that being a ship captain is the greatest job in the world, and perhaps it is, Captain. Being Secretary of the Navy is not bad either. And you know, you get to name all these great ships, and you get to visit with folks like you at all these great christenings and commissionings, and I get pick of the litter. I get to go wherever I want in the Navy. And when I saw that we were christening the Harvey Milk, Stuart, I knew that I needed to be here today, because the example that your uncle set for all Americans, the life he led in the Navy and the life he led afterwards, is truly exemplary. And the Secretary of the Navy needed to be here today, not just to amend the wrongs of the past, but to give inspiration to all our LGBTQ community leaders who serve in the Navy in uniform today and in the civilian workforce as well, too, and to tell them that we're committed to them in the future. You know, I travel the country and I travel the world and I talk to our officers and I talk to our enlisted folks. And one of the messages that I always leave with them is be bold, be brave. Take care of the people that you lead. Know them, understand them, but more importantly, fight for them. Fight for them. That's what your uncle did. He fought for the people that cared. He made a difference. That's the kind of naval leaders that we need in our officer corps and our enlisted corps and our civilian workforce. So I'm proud to be here with you today. It's great to see that the man who named this great ship, the 70th Secretary of the Navy, Brave Mavis, is here with us today. Can you all hear me? I talk pretty loud. I'm from New York. You demonstrated great courage as well, too, in naming this class of ship and in naming this very ship after Harvey Milk. So I thank you, Mr. Secretary. I'd love to be able to take credit for that, but you deserve all the credit. So how about a round of applause for our 75th Secretary of the Navy? Paula, thank you for serving as our ship sponsor and for your vital work at Johns Hopkins University as well today. You know, you're a great exemplary example of the Navy leaders that come out of the Naval Academy. And you demonstrated tremendous courage while you served in the Navy, and you've demonstrated tremendous courage afterwards as well, too, and I'm so proud to be on this stage with you today, Paula. I send my gratitude and best wishes to our sponsors as well. Senator Dianne Feinstein for all that she has done for our sailors and Marine Corps throughout the years. She's been just a great proponent of not just our Navy, but our armed services. To Stuart Milk and everyone in the Milk family, thank you for honoring us here with your presence. As I said earlier, your uncle was a remarkable leader and a strong voice for civil rights, and I promise to do so as well. Throughout his years in the Navy, he did distinguish himself as a diving officer during the Korea War, as was mentioned before. But like so many others who served our nation in uniform, he had to mask that very important part of his life as he served. And for far too long, sailors like Lieutenant Milk were forced into the shadows, or worse yet, forced out of our beloved Navy. That injustice is part of our Navy history, but so is the perseverance of all who continue to serve in the face of injustice. Today we honor each and every one of them, and we thank them all for our service, and I am proud to say now that in today's Navy, we welcome them all. As Secretary of the Navy, one of my top priorities is to continue building a culture of dignity and respect and afforded equal opportunity for all who serve in the Navy in uniform and as civilians. That means everyone, of every gender, of every race, ethnicity, religion, identity, and orientation. That's the simple fairness that Harvey Milk fought for his entire life, whether as an outspoken activist or a young lieutenant serving with quiet dignity. Ship names are important because they express what we value as a Navy and as a nation. They communicate those values around the globe in every port of call. And wherever USNS Harvey Milk sails, her crew will carry her namesake's legacy and represent his courage of conviction and always fighting for the right thing. Our force is stronger for the service of the many great members of the LGBTQ community who wear our uniform or work in our civilian ranks. Around the world and around the clock, they keep the watch, and they protect us all. My wife, Betty, and I thank you all and your families for your dedication to our sailors and Marines. We recognize that it takes a village. As introductions were being made earlier today, what really struck me is, and I know because I built a brand new warship, is that it does take a village. There's so many stakeholders involved in this who care deeply about our Navy, about our nation, and they all come together, whether they're in the community, whether they're legislators, whether they're in the executive branch, whether they work here at NASCO, or they're in the Navy, the uniform service members who serve our ships, the MSC service members who serve our ships, the civilians who work here at NASCO. It really does take an entire family to build this great ship, and it's hard work. And it's only recognized for a moment here in ceremonies like this. But when this ship sails, she carries the spirit of our sponsors and our matrons of honors. But she also carries the spirit of every which one of you who helped contribute to building this great ship. So know that each and every one of you will also serve proudly around the globe in defense of our national security interests. Fair winds and following seas to the USNS Harvey Milk and all who sail on her. May God bless you. May God bless our great nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Speaking on behalf of the Milk family is our principal speaker this morning, Mr. Stuart Milk. Stuart is the nephew of Harvey Milk and the co-founder and president of the Harvey Milk Foundation. Please welcome Stuart Milk.
Thank you, Dennis, and much gratitude to you and the entire NASCO team, including the amazing U.S. Navy ship Harvey Milk leads and work crews. I got a privilege and honor to have been here on 2 previous occasions, including yesterday, and have gotten to know these work leads and work crews, and their passion and dedication is palpable, and you can feel the conviction that they have in putting together the ship. I want to thank Secretary Del Toro and all the commissioned officers here today, Vice Admiral, Rear Admiral, and of course our amazing sponsors, Paula, and our matrons, Lila and dear Anne, who my uncle loved to death. Thank you also for being here, Mayor Gloria, and everyone at the City of San Diego, and to all the veterans and service members here today. I would not be here if it were not for the work of the Harvey Milk Foundation team that is with us here today, and it's also very meaningful to have Reggie Greer, who's the senior advisor to President Obama and the director of the White House Office of Public Engagement. And to Secretary Ray Mabus, whose design and dream to create a John Lewis class that includes not only Uncle Harvey, but in fact, as soon as Uncle Harvey takes off, or I'm calling him Uncle Harvey, as soon as the U.S. Navy ship Harvey takes off, a week later they will start work on the Robert F. Kennedy in this very same berth. So, and that will be followed by Sojourner Truth, and it really was a great visionary action that you had taken in putting together that class. Thank you. I also want to express my gratitude for the Harvey Milk Foundation, to our sponsors that allow us to continue our work, and that's Danae Montague King, Hard Rock, Stoli, and Levi's, who is here with us today. And lastly, and not least in terms of thanks, I want to thank the International Court System and the Queen Mother, Nicole Murray Ramirez, whose leadership, vision, and hard work is an inspiration to us all. For those of you in San Diego, I don't need to introduce who Nicole is. For those of you who don't know, it's similar to that ring, Precious, from from Lord of the Rings. So it's one of the things that can make you crazy, but it is and get you into trouble. But in the spirit of this class of ships, it's John Lewis style good trouble. And thank you, Nicole, for all the good trouble you cause us. Uncle Harvey did not set out to have a ship, a school, a street, or a park, or anything named after him. He did have a dream, however. The son of a Navy family, both my grandfather Bill and my grandmother Minnie served in the Navy, my grandmother in the auxiliary. Uncle Harvey was really extremely proud to carry on that family tradition, being a commissioned officer. But Uncle Harvey did have a dream. Now, one of those dreams was for service members to serve with authenticity and not be forced to hide who they were or who they loved. Yes, Uncle Harvey was forced to resign, and I would hope that his biography would include that, and there's a reason for that. But he has a less than honorable discharge. He was forced to resign because he was gay. I thank Secretary Mabus, who provided the full DD-214 to the family, which included 2 weeks of interrogation, and I think it's important that we teach that we have evolved as a society, as a culture, that we move forward. But we have to teach our history to prevent ourselves from going backwards and repeating it. And I think it's really critically important. Now, Don't Ask, Don't Tell, when it was taken down in 2011, sent a message that LGB service members could serve with honesty and they could serve openly. It's tolerance. But today we're celebrating something much bigger than tolerance. What we're celebrating today is that the Navy not only recognizes but honors those. So there's a difference between tolerance and celebration. So this Navy ship sends an important message to the world. Secretary Mabus and the Obama White House had asked me about reversing Harvey's dishonorable discharge, which thankfully you can now do if you're a family member, and I explained that I thought it was important not to do that, to keep the memory of how we did not honor everyone in this very honorable service. So let's teach history, and let's teach about our flaws, and let's make sure that we don't go backwards. Now, let me tell you about the impact that the U.S. Navy ship Harvey Milk already has made. In 2016, Secretary Mabus held the naming ceremony on Treasure Island, and we got hundreds of emails and letters from all over the world that heard about the U.S. Navy ship Harvey Milk, and let me tell you the story about one. We got an email from a young Kuwaiti named Khalil, 15 years old. Now, for those of you who do not know, in Kuwait it's still illegal to be LGBT. In 70 countries it's still illegal to be LGBT. And it's still punishable by death in almost a dozen. Now in Kuwait they don't even have to have the death penalty because there's a thing called honor killing that goes on today, where families will kill the child who comes out. So Khalil had written to us and said that he had planned his own suicide so that his parents did not have to go through the trouble of killing him. But he heard about the U.S. Navy ship Harvey Milk, And he wrote to us and said, I'm sitting here in the port in Kuwait, waiting for the U.S. Navy ship Harvey Milk to come. I have put aside my plan of suicide, and I think I have a future. And we have continued contact with Khalil. He is safe. He is hopeful. The U.S. Navy ship Harvey Milk has already begun to spread hope and the dream of my uncle around the world. As the Secretary said, one of the jobs of the Navy ship would be to educate about who Harvey was. And to help that, I'm going to do, Harvey's like always make a show of things, so I'm going to present to Captain White the 2 Academy Award-winning documentaries and 2 award-winning books to put into the library for the ship. Let me close, as I often do, about my Uncle Harvey's ultimate will and, yes, his prophecy. He did anticipate his assassination. He didn't know who, he didn't know when, but as Anne would be able to tell you, the death threats were relentless, and it wasn't just because he was openly LGBT, but he was asking people to join him, to take off their masks, and to be authentic. Now, I'm always asked at these events if I am, and the family is sad that we didn't get to see a day like today, where we have so many wonderful openly LGBT people serving, and not only in the military, but in elected office as mayor and as a cabinet officer, celebrities, role models. And you see, Harvey actually, I'm not sad because Harvey actually did dream of today. He dreamed of the day that we could take off our masks, that we could be authentic, that we could live openly. You see, that dream of my uncle gave him courage, the courage to keep fighting. He dreamed of each of us, LGBT and ally, all of those that intersect the marginalized and disenfranchised communities who live their authenticity. I firmly believe when those assassin bullets went ripping into my dear uncle, when that final bullet went smashing into his brain, that Harvey left this world seeing all of us fulfilling our potential, being authentic, and making today and our dream and his dream a reality. Thank you all for fulfilling Uncle Harvey's dream.
So as we said earlier, Senator Dianne Feinstein is the co-sponsor of this ship, and she was not able to join us today, but she's been a great champion of the shipbuilding program for the Navy, a great champion here for the men and women of NASCO, and she's been a great champion for Californians as well as our nation. So she did send a letter, and it's my honor now to read the letter from Senator Feinstein. It says, to the officers and crew of the USNS Harvey Milk, I write to extend my sincere congratulations as you participate in this historic christening of the USNS Harvey Milk TAO 206. I commend everyone whose hard work brought this modern replenishment oiler into operation. It's a privilege to see the USNS Harvey Milk come to life after working closely with my colleagues to secure funding for this vital ship. USNS Harvey Milk will accomplish the critical mission resupplying combat ships at sea, ensuring our warfighters have provisions necessary to safeguard our nation. As you do so, you will carry a rich legacy of civic leadership with the name of my former colleague, Harvey Milk. Harvey, a Navy veteran, is best remembered for his selfless work building coalitions to bring about fight for inclusion and against hatred, and also serve as an inspiration for the sailors aboard the USNS Harvey Milk. On behalf of all Californians and with the best wishes from the United States Senate, I am honored to share this momentous occasion with the officers and crew of the newly christened USNS Harvey Milk. Thank you for your sacrifice, bravery, and continued service to our nation. Sincerely, Dianne Feinstein. So now we'd like to offer a couple of minutes to Paula, but she's got a little bit of work to do, and she's got to get up to that spot right above us. So Paula, it's over to you for a couple of words, and then you got to go to work.
Thank you, Dennis. Wow, this is great. I mean, the marine layer is hanging on a little bit, but this is a beautiful day in San Diego, folks. As Secretary Del Toro, flag officers, Rivers, Carver, Secretary Mavis, all of you, and I know this is being live streamed, so I know this is being watched around the country and around the globe. We get to come together today to celebrate. You know, somebody asked me if I was excited, and I'm probably hearing it in my voice. Oh, yeah, this is pretty exciting. Is the excitement I feel this morning, I characterize it as the same excitement I felt walking over to Navy and Marine Corps Stadium on the day that I graduated from the Naval Academy. That day, I didn't know then, I know now, was May 22nd, 1985. That would have been Harvey Milk's 55th birthday. Last night, I got a chance to say some words in trying to capture the impact of the man and the legacy that the Harvey Milk represents as a ship. And I spoke of hope and inspiration. And in getting ready for this, I've had 5 years and about 50 speeches in my head. But today, this morning, celebrations are spontaneous. You can know that they're coming, you can anticipate them, but the celebration and the emotion are in the moment. And a couple of words that I want to say this morning, because you never give a lawyer the opportunity to just speak with an unlimited clock, even though I know time-tied information wait for no one. It's about family and about duty. And Harvey Milk represents both. His message about family is about us. And he spoke of giving hope to the us's. And in the us's, he meant all of us. The marginalized communities, not just the LGBTQ community. All of the people who have not been welcomed into our military service in our history and in our country. And today we still struggle with that. But we also recognize that we've made progress. This ship represents our country. It represents all of us. And the fact that it is named after Harvey Milk shows that there is absolutely a place and a part of the rich history and tradition of the Navy and of our country that should be told in a more fully authentic, inclusive way. And about duty, it's November. 18 years ago, and boy did I practice to get that math right. On a field at the other end of this country, Abraham Lincoln gave a tasking to his generation and every subsequent generation of Americans. And Harvey Milk, in his time, took up that tasking. And it's a twofold tasking. The first is to recognize the sacrifice of those who came before and paid such a high price for freedom. That it's up to us to make sure that those sacrifices were never in vain. For us today is to ensure that the sacrifice of Harvey Milk's life wasn't in vain, that the sacrifice of so many people's careers in our military because of past ignorance and prejudice were not in vain. And today, when so many folks can serve authentically as who they are, that ensures that that sacrifice wasn't in vain. And the other tasking was that it's up to us to be resolved, to make sure that our country always has a new birth of freedom, that government of the people, by the people, for the people, doesn't perish. The fact that we are here today in very divisive and challenging times proves that our nation endures. And we still have to work, though, to make sure that that government of the people reflects all of the people, not just some of the people. When the Harvey Milk sails, she will send a very strong message, both domestically and around the globe, to everybody that believes in freedom and justice and liberty, that there is a place for you in this family. And that is such a fantastic message for us to send, and why it was so important and so great of Secretary Mavis for this ship's, the class name, the John Lewis, the Harvey Milk, the other ships in this class. Because it sends the message that those values we hold dear, particularly for those of us who have worn the uniform, honor, courage, and commitment, service to country is not the sole purview of those who have been in the military. Everyone who has ever been dedicated to our ideals and who has served deserves to be recognized. And those names, those ships, will inspire not only our sailors, our country, but anyone who loves the same values that we love. So today is a great day to celebrate. And I understand that I've got to maybe get in one more practice swing. Thank you.
So now what we all been waiting for, Dave's going to escort our sponsors up to the platform. And while they're doing that, Commander, let's hear from the band one more time. So get your popcorn and your cameras ready, okay? Now I'd like to direct your attention to the striker platform. Paula, would you please christen the ship?
In the name of the United States of America, I christen thee Harvey Milk. May God bless this ship and all who sail in her.
So we have launched and christened the USNS Harvey Milk. So on behalf of the men and women of General Dynamics NASCO, we thank you for attending this christening and launch ceremony today. Special thanks to all the NASCO christening team who puts this together. This concludes our ceremony, and thank you all for being here. We wish you all fair winds and following seas. Thank you.